Hello and welcome. So today I want to talk to you about how can you tell the difference between intuition and anxiety. Well, I was talking about intuition on my last video, and I think it's important because it saves you a lot of time and trouble and stress. Okay. However, how can you tell the difference? Because I have anxiety. I'm medicated on anxiety, and anxiety is something that I feel in my whole body. Some days I wake up and I'm fine. Some other days I wake up and I'm like bubbling, okay? It's not a good feeling. And basically, when you're anxious about something, first of all, you can't stop thinking about it. You kind of ruminate, and you can get a little bit of a heart race. You can get a sweaty palm, and you just get like this repeated thoughts in your head, like, oh, this is that, that bumbling recurrent conversation in your head, and it's not good. Feels awful. So if you have it, please treat it. I've been treating my own because I really hate the feeling of anxiety. It really takes you over. Your brain races so fast. You think about 1,000 scenarios at once. Anxiety, you need it at some level. You need some of it, but not a lot of it, okay? Everything's about balance, even, mental illness. So in intuition, it's a more peaceful feeling, I think. Intuition feels like suddenly you, like when you're driving down a road and you see an outdoor on the side of the road, and you read something and you have no emotional reaction to that. It's just a sentence there. This is bah, over there. It's like a fact. It's something that you come across in your head. It's like, you're wandering in a dark forest, and which is your brain. And suddenly you find a flower. You find a flower on the ground, and it's a different flower, and it's a realization, and it's your intuition. Basically, it's something that boop, springs up in your head. It has nothing to do with reasoning. Sometimes my intuition would about something would come in when I wasn't even thinking about it. Sometimes I would wake up. Oh my God, that happened once to me. Sometimes I was in the situation. I'm gonna tell you a little story time, okay? I was in a situationship. I was in the situationship a few months ago, and I was constantly wondering where I stood in that place, which is already a sign that that person was not interested. However, I was still hopeful, right? Hope is a dangerous thing for a woman like me to have, as Lana Del Rey would say. But I have it. But I have. Sorry. But I have. And I was hopeful back then still. And I was like, well, what is up with this guy? Does he like me? Does he not? And I remember that I went to bed that night, and I think I probably fell asleep thinking about him because he was so cute. But I probably fell asleep thinking about the situation. And when I woke up in the morning, I remember that I opened my eyes. I was literally like lying down like this. And I stared at the ceiling. And the first thought I had was, he's not in love with me. He's not in love with me. It was the first thought. I didn't think about anything else. I just woke up and that realization hit. And I was like, I didn't give it much thought because I had literally just woken up, and I thought that was very inconvenient because, I mean, I need to have a coffee first if you're gonna, drop a bomb like that on me. But how can you explain that? Because I wasn't thinking about that. I had literally just opened my eyes. And the first thought that I formed in my head was so clear that it felt like it wasn't even a sentence I could say. It felt like someone else said that in my head, and it was, he's not in love with me. And I remember that I didn't feel anything. I just acknowledged that thought, and I started my day. And later on, I would stop and really like debate on that because I have the habit of writing morning pages, and I often sit down and write down 2 to 3 pages of like just, free writing and not much thinking or planning, just writing down, like a brain dump sort of thing. And then I would think about that thought and I realized, yeah, and I was right. I was right. Yay, he does not love me. Yeah, I was right. Okay, it sucked at the time. I was really sad and blah, blah, blah. But I was right. And intuition. It feels like it's not painful like a punch in the gut, but it feels I'm not really good with kinetic feelings. But it feels really like solid. It feels solid. It feels real. It's not something you question in your heart. It's not something you think, oh, is that true? It usually is true. Okay, so intuition in your body feels very much more grounded than anxiety. And your body is usually what gives you signs. If we're talking about, for example, relationships, your body will give you signs if someone is not good for you. If a situation is not serving you, your body is going to tell you. Anxiety, I think it's a symptom of being in places and situations that are not good for you. Every relationship that I was that started to become unhealthy, the first symptom I would have would be anxiety. The first symptom. I would be overthinking, ruminating, feeling anxious because I knew that I wasn't in a safe, stable relationship with a person. And, or if I wasn't in a place that was doing me well, I would feel anxiety. So, your body shows you the symptoms of you being in a situation, place, or relationship that it's not serving you. Okay? So pay a lot of attention to your body because that's when you know. Intuition is much more peaceful, guys. It's not something that makes you overthink, it makes you. No, intuition, it just comes in and sits down and tells you something. And that's it. And then you do whatever you want with it, okay? You can ignore your intuition. You can, unfortunately, not follow it. But trust me, you probably should because, oh God. Because we sometimes, the problem is that because we're human, we get that information and we sometimes react to it in an emotional way. And that really damages, the message because we get emotionally, depending how emotionally involved you are in a situation, whatever you get from your intuition, you might scrutinize it and be like, I don't want to follow this. I don't want to trust this. I want to see for myself. You can see for yourself, but there will be a price to it. Okay? Anxiety makes you feel, I have it written down here, sorry. I have it written down here. Anxiety makes you feel like you want to run. Intuition makes you pause. That's it. Okay? And intuition makes you pause and think. Anxiety makes you, you know, completely different things. This is basically how it feels for me in my body, how I learned to recognize it, okay? I have another video about learning to trust your gut where I talk about intuition and how I perceive it, and I give you guys some examples of how you can use it in your life. Okay, so if you want to watch that next, go ahead. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Bye.